Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Never in our nation's 246 years have we seen what we saw on January 6th.
Voters in the U.S. state of Wyoming have ousted Congresswoman Liz Cheney, a rare Republican critic of former President Donald Trump, in a primary election. The 56-year-old, who was once a rising Republican star, was one of only 2 members of her party to join the congressional committee investigating Mr. Trump's attempts to cling on to power.
Wyoming has spoken on behalf of everyone who is concerned that the game is becoming more and more rigged against them.
She has been beaten by a relative political newcomer and Trump-backed candidate Harriet Hageman. Cheney said in her concession speech that she had no regrets about not supporting the former president.
2 years ago, I won this primary with 73% of the vote. I could easily have done the same again. The path was clear. But it would have required that I go along with President Trump's lie about the 2020 election. It would have required that I enable his ongoing efforts to unravel our democratic system and attack the foundations of our republic. That was a path I could not and would not take.
Veteran Kenyan politician Raila Odinga is currently exploring his legal and constitutional options to challenge the presidential results, in which he narrowly lost to Deputy President William Ruto. He now has less than 5 days to file a petition at the Supreme Court.
Was opaque and incapable of earning our ownership and confidence.
One of the issues that is likely to shape the petition is the allegation by some commissioners of the electoral body that the chairman sidelined them in the later phases of the results tallying process. 4 commissioners out of 7 have alleged that they did not analyse the results verified by the technical team before the final declaration.
Our view in Azimio is clear. The figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void. I repeat, the figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void and must be quashed by a court of law.
Ukraine's State Emergency Service has released a video that it says shows the aftermath of a Russian missile strike 60 kilometers south of Odessa in the coastal town of Zatoka. The strike left 4 people wounded, caused fire and severe damage in one of the town's resorts. The railway bridge of Zatoka is a key connection between Odessa region's south to the rest of Ukraine and has been targeted during the war several times before. Footage released by Castello firefighters in Spain show firemen running from a violent blaze as they scrambled to stop a wildfire from reaching a region in Valencia. 2 firefighters were injured in the event, and although they had suffered burns, their lives were not in danger. The wildfire started on Monday, and since then the villages of Teresa and Torras have been evacuated, whilst people in the village of Viver have been asked to remain at home. Torrential rains have hit New Zealand's South Island, flooding rivers, houses and roads and forcing roughly 200 households to evacuate. Around 70 homes in Nelson at the north of the South Island and a further 140 homes on the west coast were evacuated. Eyewitness footage showed a swollen Maitai River overflowing the banks and partially submerging houses and trees. Strong floodwaters were seen gushing under the Collingwood Street Bridge in the same area. And finally, Pope Francis seemed pleased as a small boy walked onto the podium during the general audience to greet him.
Ti piace stare qui? Accomodati, accomodati lì. Nell'udienza parlavamo del dialogo fra vecchi e giovani.
He told the congregation, "In the hearing we talked about dialogue between old and young. This child was brave and he remains calm."
Che abbiamo celebrato a tutti la mia benedizione. Adesso.
As the weekly audience continued, the child was allowed to stay roaming around the podium close to the Pope.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
It's time for sports news. Here's Victor Matthias.